welcome back to the Bibs channel. My name is Kaylin and today I'm going to be talking about some popular books that I still haven't read yet. I'm going to talk about some books that were popular back in the day, back at like the beginning of like booktube time to like now, and like still like really popular books that I haven't read yet. I'll also leave a link in the description box below where you can go find the video over at Epic Reads where I saw their video and I was like, you know what? This really made me think about popular books that I still haven't read yet. The first book that is popular that I haven't read yet is The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. Not a book that you automatically think that is super popular that comes to mind right away right now, since it is an older book and it's more for middle grade, but I never read it. I eventually got the giant book that had all the books in it and had the giant lion's face on the cover and it was black. It was so beautiful to have, but I never read it, and I owned it for a couple of years at the beginning of booktube, and then I just got rid of it because I was like, I'm never gonna read it, and since then I haven't had it and I don't have any desire to go and read it. So the next book on the list is J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I still not have read them yet. I don't think I ever will because it's just too epic and high fantasy and I'm just, I'm not a fan of that stuff. The next book that was back in prime, like early booktube time, was Obsidian by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I remember, it's like when people talk about Colleen Hoover now, like that's when people were talking about Jennifer L. Armentrout. She was the big name that you would always talk about and see in everyone's videos. This book was just basically Twilight with aliens. And I was like, never ever a fan of that idea because I'm like, ugh. I absolutely love and adore Twilight. I love the movies, I love the books, I love Edward, I love Bella, I don't even care. Aliens. I'm not a fan of aliens, and humans being in love with aliens is just bizarre, but I can stand humans being in love with vampires. I don't know. I don't know my logic, but I couldn't wrap my head around it, and it just was a weird concept, and I felt meh about it, and I never picked it up, and I don't think I ever will, because they eventually, the covers were stunning, and I loved and enjoyed them, but then they went to this movie version of Twilight, Edward, all sparkly and weird, and there's like now 3 books, but there's like 2 books, and then 2 books into one, and then like there's the last one, which is just on its own. I just feel really weird about that, and I never read it. I probably won't ever read it. The next book on the list is going to be J.K. Rowling's The Casual Vacancy, because a lot of people were not pleased when that came out. I remember picking up the book and then I was like, this ain't interesting at all, and like I read the first couple of pages and then I've never picked the book up since. This is J.K. Rowling's first adult novel. This was her first book she wrote that was outside of the Harry Potter series. I remember hearing The Casual Vacancy getting just really bad reviews and I just did not read it, and I feel like it made the list because it was popular at the time, because there's a lot of different feelings and mixed feelings and poor feelings about it, and I feel like this really relates to this year's release of The Cursed Child, which is not by her, it's written by a couple other people and her idea or whatever. It made the list because of that. Next up on the list is The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak. I have not read this book and I'm so mad. So many people have read and love this book, and I'm salty that I still haven't read this. I had a copy. I let my friend Taylor, so I let her borrow my book and I never got it back, and I feel really bad because I don't want to go out and buy a copy, because the copy that I bought was from Goodwill and it was like 88 cents and it was in perfect condition. But I just really actually want to read this book because it just sounds so appealing, and it's so popular and people still read it and still love and enjoy it, and I'm one of those people that have not read and enjoyed this book. The main book that I haven't read that I feel like is very popular on BookTube is Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. I have not read this book, shame on me, because it is so stinking thick. It's a high epic fantasy or whatever, and I'd rather watch the TV show. I know I've seen the first episode, but I don't know if I was paying attention during the second episode, but holy nudity and butts and naked people and stuff. Figured I'd rather just sit down and watch this series than actually read it. I know, shame on me. A book person wants to watch something before they read it. I feel like if I were to read it, I would feel like I would have a better understanding, since it is fantasy and high fantasy or whatever. I'm just not a fan of that stuff. So I think if I sit down and watch the TV show and then read the books, maybe I would understand it a little bit better. I don't know. It is a very, very popular book and a TV show, and I still haven't read it, and I really, shame on me. I should have read this book by now, but oh well. Anywho, those are the top popular books that I haven't read yet. Leave a comment in the box below. Did you think I missed out on any top popular books that I haven't read yet? Or what made your list? Anyways, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week for a new video.